Question 25. I want to compare the number of cars passing school for 5 days. What is the best type of graph to show this information? Now, what I thought we'd do here is discuss different ways of showing information, because there isn't necessarily just one answer to this. Some types of chart have advantages over others, and it basically depends what you're trying to show. So if you were to do a survey and you were to stand on your school gate and record the number of cars passing on 5 days of the week, the way that you would record the information would probably be in a tally chart. So a tally chart is very good for recording the information in the first place, but it's not very good for displaying the information, because as you can see, there are lots and lots of tallies here, and it's very difficult to see straight away. You can see that Wednesday's got the most tallies, but it doesn't really show what this adds up to. So if the numbers are very high, if your tally chart contains very high numbers, then a tally chart isn't necessarily the best way of showing the information once you've got it. It's a good way of collecting the information, so recording or collecting, but then generally when we're displaying the information, we do something else with it afterwards. So I wouldn't say that the answer to this question is a tally chart. Now then, a bar chart. Bar charts can be very good for quickly seeing what's the least and what's the most. So you can very quickly see that Wednesday there were 200 cars, and Tuesday there weren't very many cars at all. So Tuesday there was only 10, and you can write the numbers on the bar. So Monday was 100, Tuesday was just 10, Wednesday was 200, Thursday was 30, and Friday was 60. Okay. However, with a pie chart, now a pie chart has an advantage over a bar chart in that sometimes you can see things more easily from a pie chart that you wouldn't necessarily spot from a bar chart. So for example, all four of these charts, by the way, show the same thing. They're all about 400 cars. So Monday, as we've already said, you'd have to count up the tallies, and these tallies are in groups of 5. If you count them up, you get 100. Count Tuesdays up, 5, 10 is just 10. Wednesdays is 200. Thursdays is 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And Fridays is 12 lots of 5. That's 60. And that's a similar information on the bar chart. But on the pie chart, the advantage you get is that you can sometimes easily spot quarters and halves of the whole thing. Each section of the pie is in relation to the whole thing. So, for example, you can see that on the blue section of the pie here, which is Monday, you can see that that's a right angle right there. And a right angle in a pie chart is basically a quarter of the data. So you can easily spot the quarter of all the cars were on Monday. And that's the same case on the bar chart, because all these numbers add up to 400, but it's not, in 100 is a quarter of 400, but it's not as easy to spot that it's a quarter, if that makes sense. You can easily spot, if this was a pizza, that blue section it's easily spottable that's a quarter. The same can be said for the red section. The red section is just basically half straight away. So half of all the cars were on Wednesday. And that's easy to spot from the pie chart, but it's not so easy to spot from the bar chart, because you don't know what the total is unless you add them all up. But you do know what the total is on the pie chart, because the pie chart is the whole thing. So that's an example that a pie chart could have over the bar chart. It shows you what percentage the each section is in relation to the total. The bar chart doesn't do that. That just shows you exact numbers. If you want the exact numbers, the bar chart is better. If you want the proportion or the percentage in relation to the total, the pie chart is better. Line graphs are usually best used to show how things change with time. And changing with time is sometimes if we've got like a science experiment to show how much some boiling water is cooling down over periods of 10 minutes. the water would go down and down and down every 10 minutes, or how something is the distance covered in a race over the period of a few hours, like the London Marathon. That would be good. Now, this is actually changing with time because it goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you could say that a line graph would help. But like I say, the line graph would probably best help with graphs that need to be changing in hours or minutes. Possibly with this one, I would say that the pie chart or the bar chart is the best. If you want to know what relation it is what each section is in relation to the total, I would go with the pie chart. If you want to know what each individual number is, I would go with the bar chart. So either the pie chart or the bar chart are probably the best two answers there. But there's not always a set answer here. It depends what information you're trying to show, and it depends how you're trying to show it. Different graphs and charts have advantages over other graphs and charts. But another important thing is to remember that the tally chart is how you would collect the information in the first place. If you were standing on the school gate, you wouldn't record the information straight into a bar chart or straight into a pie chart, because you need to have all of your information first before you know how big to draw the bars or the sections of pie. If you were trying to draw it straight away, you'd be forever changing the size of your bars and changing the size of your pie sections. That's why you do a tally chart to begin with.